everybody is here. Do we have any additions to the agenda? Staff, board members? Seeing none, the motion to approve the agenda is presented. Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. 3 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent agenda for individual discussion? If not, I will accept the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second again.
Moved and seconded to do that. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, public participation. We have 2 people that signed up ahead of time. We'll give other folks their chance. We get 3 minutes. Clock ready to Richard?
Yeah.
All right, so the first on the agenda is Cindy Riggs.
Right here, hello.
Hi.
First of all, I apologize, this is really nerve-wracking, but I can talk really fast. I'm just here as a homeowner and taxpayer of CPRD with kind of a big picture of what I would like to see. I've been following board meetings for a while now, and everyone has voices and opinions, and that's great. But then I also noticed that a lot of these opinions are from people who don't actually live here and pay the taxes here, which is fine, but I just, as a taxpayer, want my voice to be heard. Because it's kind of like representation without taxation, like the opposite of the American Revolution. That's what we do. Okay. So I'm here to add my take. So first of all, I want to start with a little bit of a big picture, if you'll indulge me. My husband and I were living in Kansas City, Missouri 5 years ago when he was offered a position anywhere in Oregon or Washington. And we don't have any people we know up here, and we didn't have the money to actually fly back and forth, so we Googled. And I Googled and I found this perfect house because of picture 1. Yeah, yes. So I had the opportunity to live next to a giant herd of llamas, which I didn't have to take care of. But this house was not only on the top of our budget, completely outside our budget. So I started Googling Newburgh. What does Newburgh have to offer? And then I find, gosh, an aquatic center that's cheaper than my gym in Kansas. I found a dog park with a small dog section, a golf course. I don't even play golf, but what a great thing for the community, a farmer's market, and even a cultural center with events like the Lavender Festival. I'm like, is this real life? That's from a video from a long time ago. Anyway, so we added the house to cart, and I was validated with that decision by finding picture 2. Well, I can't really read that. So I found out that the National Association of Realtors did their own studies. And now these people aren't exactly tree huggers. They gave Mitch McConnell $2.8 million. So you know where they're coming from. But one thing they said, which I really liked, was the good news is that recent studies have confirmed living near trails and greenways will likely raise your property value on an average of 3 to 5%, and sometimes as high as 15%. This is, there's no correlation that trails increase crime in the surrounding areas. And one thing on trails too, that was the one thing that Newburgh seemed kind of light on. I mean, Riley's great, but I talk to families, young kids every day, or not every day, every week at the Wednesday market. And they really, really want a safe place for the kids to ride bikes. I mean, one kid was just hit recently in Villa this month. And so I do
need you to kind of wrap things up.
Okay, so Newburgh Dundee Bypass Trail, they love it. They get a little sad when I hear that it's in jeopardy, but they need a safe place for the kids to ride bikes. And I just want to say that use my tax money for these projects. I think that'd be really, really important. And also one quick thing, I really want you guys to use the facility for free, the board of directors, the staff, because you guys will be extra vigilant. People like me will go, not my problem, for dead grass and machines and whatnot, But, you know, that crazy ethics complaint thing went around. I'm like, no, please use it, because you guys will, you know, take care of the property the more you use it. So looking at the new people, use the facilities, because I trust you guys to keep an eye on everything. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy.
Linda, I don't have my glasses. Holtgrave?
It'll be Nancy Wentworth presenting.
Linda's out of town.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's representing.
My eyes aren't that bad, so.
So our group is, we're the Sawdusters group from Newburgh here, and we'd like to start with a brief history of Chehalem Valley Sawdust Association. About 1998, Tom Barnes and Don Clements started the Chehalem Valley Sawdust Association with about 5 people who were working in their personal wood shops. They would share ideas and assist each other when needed. The club added a few more woodworkers over time, but was still not associated with the city of Newburgh. Dave Ritz moved to Newburgh in 2012 and became a member of the club. At that time, we were meeting at the senior center once a week discussing woodworking and how to start becoming a more active club. About that time, Beaudry's Custom Woodworking started giving us their scrap wood. This partnership lasted until COVID, and since, the supply of wood has stopped. About 2013, we got connected with Camp Tillicum, providing a simple project and assistance on given weekends. We would be helping parents and their children assemble a birdhouse from kits that we provided to Camp Tillicum. Several of us would get together in one of the members' wood shops and set up an assembly line, cutting and drilling wood, making birdhouse kits. This lasted for about 3 years, and we would make about 400 birdhouse kits a year. The cost of wood, screws, dowels, and glue was all coming from some of the club members. We might be going to Camp Tillicum twice a month for 5 months. Over the years, we have participated in the Summerfest with our racetracks for kids. We provide car kits for them to assemble with our assistance, and then they race them down a track. This has always been a huge success with the kids, and we give away about 100 cars. Most years, we have given the senior centers items to raffle off at their Christmas bazaar. We have made items for the Rotary Club to raffle off at several events. From about 2013 to 19, start of COVID, we were also building wooden toys for the Newburgh Fire Department to give away to needy families at Christmas. Over those years, we would take between 200 to 450 wooden toys per year to the Newburgh Fire Department, filling usually 2 tables and some of the floor with handmade wooden toys.
Okay, Nancy, I'm gonna interrupt you. I don't
Okay.
mean to be rude. You're not gonna be able to read all of this within your allotted time. 'Cause you're
Okay.
down to like 20 seconds, so.
Okay,
I promise you, we will read the rest of this. Why don't you go ahead and skip down
okay, I'll read the last
of
20
why you
seconds
folks are
for
here.
you.
Yeah.
Our reason for being
Or can
here
a
is
second
to
person
ask
read the
you,
second page?
our reason for being here is to ask you for your help and support at possibly finding a more dedicated space for our woodworking club. One that would allow us continual access, and second, where we could teach kids and adults through the park programs and continue to give back to the community. Our partnership with you has been so important and has kept this group continuing. We would appreciate your consideration and ideas of how we can keep this club as a part of this community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, John or Casey, off the top of your heads, is there a place we can do this?
We will meet with, at one point, we were in the schools. We'll check with them again. They are building an addition, and I'll check with Dr. Phillips, and we'll try to rearrange that partnership. So we'll just go from there.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Could I speak?
Sure.
My name is Dave Hanselman. I'm a member of the Sawdusters. And basically, and Linda, our president, isn't here right now. We are uncertain whether we're going to be in the school next year, the middle school. And with the classes that they had this last year, from the high schoolers coming over there and using the middle school shop, and then the talking of starting the middle schoolers a new shop, which is great, having them do work again. It just totally limits the space that we have, cuts it down into a third of what we had before, and it was tight then. So we're just looking for any ideas, any help, and whether it be with the school, if we can still do that, or something even, more centrally located, so that we can continue to teach classes for the kids, and teach adult classes also, and get new members.
Jim?
Thank you.
Yeah, my thought is that you probably looked at possibly how much square footage you need, how much infrastructure you need. Do you have the machinery now that you own to do the work you're
The
doing?
club owns most of the tools.
Okay, so you're halfway there then, so yeah, but those other two things, we get to share with Don, so he kind of knows, okay, if we have a space in the district and the board approves you folks coming in, then he would know, where to look. So that's great.
Right, if not tonight, we can, in the near future, get a hold of Don.
Absolutely.
Don or Casey going to be the point person for this?
Either one of us.
Or both.
Just contact me,
Exactly.
because I'm familiar with what you already do, because we started it many years ago. And we'll just go ahead and reorganize it and get it done.
Yeah, so we'll do our best to find something. We can't give you an answer tonight because we don't have a shop building.
We're just laying the groundwork. That's, what Linda wanted to do is just
Awesome.
get
Thank
the
you
ball
so much.
rolling.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And then, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for, the district for what they've done for us over the years. And we hope it can continue and hopefully expand a little bit so that we can teach that many more people.
Okay, so just stay on the superintendent.
Okay, so we ride him, okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Others that wish to speak tonight? Mr. Paulson?
So I hesitated to bring this up prior to our golf course committee meeting update, but since this is the last time to speak prior to the approval of the 2023-2024 budget resolutions, it's a statement and a question. And the statement is, our committee is adamantly against a $300,000 permanent bathroom at Full 6. With that being said, what is the process going forward because I know the budget's going to get approved. Once it goes forward, how do we go about addressing specific items in there? Is it through the budget committee? Is it to the board? Is it possible to retract that? I'm just curious. We're curious. Because we think that money would be better used elsewhere and have a less expensive permanent bathroom at Full 6. Or once it's done, is it done in stone? For those of you that have been around a long time. And thank you for your service, Bart and Don.
So, Don, you want to address that?
I think we've looked at a restroom ever since we built the golf course on number 6. We had it plumbed. When they were out building the homes, we wanted to make sure we got the infrastructure over there for it. I will probably bring that back to the board and we'll put it on the agenda so it can be addressed at that time.
Okay.
I don't think we ever planned on spending $300,000 for the restroom there. We talked about building a couple of restrooms in the district. We need one there. We need a couple out there. And we also need one at UNM Park. And I'm trying to think where else we talked about. Do you remember off the top of your head, Casey?
No, I know there was 3.
Jacob, maybe an update?
Well, I think some of the
that's-
restrooms, to give you an idea, are gonna have to be looked at from an ADA standpoint too.
Yeah.
District-wide. There's new rules out there and, so we need to look at that because they're all 30 years plus.
Yeah.
Have been used pretty diligently, so I think that we have to kind of review all of our facilities and take a hard look at what we can do, what we can't do, how much it's gonna cost.
Okay,
So what I'm hearing is it'll come back on the agenda.
thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. So, I've been fond of saying over my years on the board that we appreciate you coming, and we're not offended if you don't stay.
He was being truthful. If you want to go through the,
So is that a hint to leave?
no, but it's, you're saying
It's-
workman's
it's
comp and
not-
safe.
It's not
and all that
into
kind of
you, but
stuff.
you know, if you don't
Not
want to
offended
sit
if
through
you
the whole
stay.
agenda, you don't have to.
Yeah.
We're not offended. So. Okay. Approval of the 23-24 budget resolutions. They're in the packet. I think I already signed them.
So I move to approve the 23-24 budget resolution 06123 through 06423.
Second.
That means there are, just to be clear, that means there are 4 budget resolutions. 01, 02, 03, and 04. Any further discussion? Sensing none, those in favor of approving the budget resolutions, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the CPRD employee handbook. Heidi, what's here, you are?
Yes.
You're here all the time, hi. Want to tell us why we're doing this and why this is so important we have to do it tonight?
So you got the big thick packet, which is just front to back, and then there were a couple of addendum changes. There was a Senate bill that made a language change in the OFLA, which is why I had to go back in and do a quick swapping through there. So the pages that you have, there's more pages than what there were word changes on. The reason it's important with Paid Leave Oregon coming up September 3rd, when you're overlapping FEMLA, OFLA, and Paid Leave Oregon, for FEMLA and OFLA, you have to have a 60-day heads up before you make any changes to that. That would be July 3rd. This is the last board meeting prior to then. If not, we would not necessarily be able to run them concurrently, and we could be out of compliance and violation. So this is our last shot to get that in there, so we're in legal compliance with the verbiage on those protected leave categories.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
I read through that, and the state of Oregon stuff is phenomenal. But I understand the legal part of that, but it's just like, wow. It's like, so I appreciate all the work you did, because I'm sure that wasn't easy.
No, it's not fun.
Art?
I'm in favor of being in compliance, so make a motion to approve CPRD employee handbook.
Dr. Ryerson moves to approve the handbook as presented. Is there a second? Dr. Rogers seconds. Any further discussion? Sensing none, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Policy and guidelines for public comments. We got any further on that?
Is everything, at least we talked about that. Did you ever get back to the county?
Well, can we postpone this until the next?
Sure.
Table this item to the next meeting. Workers' compensation was safe. Dawn, Tracy?
Just authorize me to sign it. We've been with SAFE forever. Our rebate checks are getting quite large, so that's always good. Our experience rating went down below 100, so we're about 90 something, so.
Any questions?
we're
No, it's
doing-
great to see that our employees are safe and being safe, and those rates are not going up, because we have accidents, those rates go up, so that's good to hear.
just need approval to authorize me to sign that. I put it in the packet.
I'll move to approve the workman's compensation with city.
We'll second.
All right. Director McMaster moved, Director Ryerson seconded. Any other discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Confirmation of the May 16th, 2023 elections. The winners and losers are here.
We just need authorization to sign that,
All right.
so.
I move that we confirm the May 16th election.
And I'll second.
Move the second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Reports and comments from board members. Bart.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Jason and Matt on your success with the election. And I hope that you will represent the citizens of Newburgh and Dundee in the 29J district. I don't want to get real political, but I understand some of your contributions for the election probably came from outside the county for people that have different priorities and what I believe the citizens of Newburgh and Dundee do. I trust that you're gonna do the right thing and support the wishes of the community and keep an open mind and just listen. So congratulations and welcome to the board.
Jim.
So, real quick, I heard the Crane Circus it's called, is coming to Newburgh in front of the Cultural Center, this coming Saturday, is my understanding. Google that and take a look or look through the Cultural Center. But I hear it's an amazing thing with these folks who do acrobatics and everything that come through, and it's free to the public. So, anyone that wants to go out there and be entertained with their kids or whatever, I guess it's pretty cool. So,
I saw it last time and
was it good?
it's different, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, I hear they do some stuff and hopefully they're safe. So anyway, there you go. That's all I got.
Lisa?
Well, it's summertime, people are out, they're using all of our parks, and I am very excited to see that. I was at Union playing disc golf the other day, and there were a lot of people out there, which was really great. As well, I saw Jason at the Pride Parade / event, which was a really nice event as well. So I think it's really good, and I think people should get out there and utilize all of the resources that this district has to offer because we're really lucky.
Gail? Okay. A couple of things I'm gonna say. Some I'm gonna leave to the end. I do wanna say to Bart, it's been a pleasure to work with you, years on the board. And, you've been enthusiastic, man of integrity, and I've appreciated our time together on the board. I consider you a friend. I hope that we will cross paths in the future. The other comments I'm going to make right now, kind of jumping on what Bart did. Jason and Matt, I have some comments I'm going to direct at you. You can take them for what they're worth. So you are about to engage on what I consider a sacred trust, being on this board of directors for this district. This is an independent governmental agency. Because we share taxpayers with Yamhill County in some respects, all the city of Newburgh, all the city of Dundee, and most of the Newburgh School District, it behooves us whenever popular, whenever possible, to cooperate and coordinate with those jurisdictions, because we are using, some of the same taxpayer money. But by the same token, your job is to represent this district. Sometimes that means looking the county eye to eye and saying no. Lots of times it means looking the city of Newburgh eye to eye and saying hell no. You know, this district is looked upon as the red-haired bastard stepchild of local government, and we're not. I'm very proud of this district. And it's your job to make sure that this district doesn't get run over, that people understand, you know, we have our role, we have our position in this community. I've been on this board for 32 years. Not one time have I gone to McMinnville to the county commissioner meeting and told the commissioners, this is how you should run your agency. I don't appreciate it when they come here and tell us how to run ours. It's none of their damn business. Your job is to stick up for this district, and I hope that you will do that. That's what I have to say right now. Updates on projects. Casey.
Ooh, find where I am here. Center of State Park, we received the grant money from the state and federal grant money for the development of the park. So we're moving ahead with that. Not much on Crabtree Park. It's kind of installed at the county level. With the culvert determination and an easement through Newton's property. Aquatic Center's been doing fine, just a lot of maintenance. Bob and Krista Riley Park Master Plan got underway, I believe, last Wednesday. I was out of town when that happened. Dawn and Kat and John Javelin from AB5 were there and kicked the meeting off at the open house at the Cultural Center. Approximately 84 attendees, and they took results and gave people stickers to kind of prioritize what people wanted to see at the park. Not a lot of new news, but really good engagement with the community and opportunities for more as the master plan process goes through.
Is there any way of finding out?
Our website has.
What NB5 came up with?
Yep, our website has all that information on it, doesn't it, at this point?
Well, yes, but to clarify, the actual draft of the master plan won't be released until the end of this year.
Correct.
Right,
The
so
information.
what you can see right now on the website is the presentation that NB5 gave at that last meeting, plus, you know, the context and the history behind that transaction of the property and the looking forward to it. So the master plan itself won't be available till the end of the year.
My question was, we all had those little circles at the places.
The results of that
Yes.
poll,
Yes.
right. We don't have the results of that up. That is something that's still gonna be used internally going forward with the draft, but if that's something that you'd like to see, I think that we can probably make that happen for you.
I'd like to see it.
That would be
It's
great.
public
Yeah.
information.
Absolutely.
Cultural Center, when was that meeting? Had a planning committee meeting or director meeting at the city, and the variance got tabled until, I believe it's July 13th, so we had another meeting to sit there for 3 hours, and hopefully we're the first on the agenda this time. It's kind of disappointing to sit there for 3 hours and not get anywhere, but I think it'll go well. We're kind of working on the bypass project still, slowly kind of in design and engineering phase and trying to look at all the alternatives for saving money, lighting, and airport concerns, and how we're gonna get the bridge down there. Technically, it's gonna come off the ODOT bypass, so we might work. And that was because of ODOT. What else do I have? Still working on the campground property. That's sitting at the county right now, for planning development permit. And, we'll get going on that as soon as they think we have a meeting in August on that, August 3rd, somewhere around there. Heritage Trail's been working with us and with NV5. We've kind of given NV5 most of the trail work that Clinton did for reference up there. And they held a National Trails Day on June 3rd up there that was 85 volunteers strong, and they went up there and they had equestrians and bike cyclists and hikers, and they got a lot of work done up there. You know, I thank Quentin and Matt and who else was Marty was up there?
Marty was up there.
Marty was up there.
Brian Bowman.
And Brian Bowman for their for their help. Cindy, for their help up there. I think it went really well. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get up there. Ewing Young, the land use application, as you all know, was submitted, and we hired an attorney to seek legal advice. And we currently stalled it in the county because I wanted to make sure that the new board has a say in what goes on. Not that it's not going forward, but there has been discussions with the county, and they have been having discussions about how to make their land use laws more in alignment with the state land use. And we're hoping that the new board will come on board and realize that there is some things at the county level that they need to change, and that people should be allowed to use properties for their intended use. And I'm just gonna leave it at that and let the new boards decide how to go forward with that. And that's what I got.
Okay, questions for Casey?
I
Yes, Bart.
Casey, I'm curious if you've been working with the Chehalem Valley Sportsman Club for the culvert there at Crabtree, as they also use that same access?
They have an agreement with us, yeah. So we haven't reached out to them yet.
I mean, they may have some influence with the county commissioners. It might be worth at least having that discussion.
Yeah, well, I've heard through the county that the county wants to sell the property, which they technically legally can't do because it will go back to either Crabtree or Crabtree family. It was all built with land and conservation grant funds. So that will have to be replaced or in kind, or something will have to happen there. So the county's aware of all that because I let them know that.
Okay.
So they can gift it to us, they can carry on with what we're doing, but they're still kind of on the hook for the easement, and I think the culvert as well. So
I realize I won't be voting for in the future on this, but just for the record, my opinion is it's probably worth the district, even if it's a bigger chunk, the value of the park.
Yes.
Compared to the cost of the culvert.
For sure.
Yeah, so, I mean, it'd be great to share those costs, but really, like to get to see the lease renewed and that still be available to use for the public. It's a great addition, I think, to the community.
Is it possible for the public to ask Casey a question regarding any of these?
Once the board's done with their questions, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Paulson, go ahead.
Thank you. So I just want to make sure I'm on the record, and this is, I'm clear and the public's clear. If I heard you correctly.
Even though I just need you to identify yourself for the record.
I'm sorry, I thought I already did that earlier. Steve Paulson, tax-paying citizen of Newburgh. About 10 minutes ago, we listened to Don make an attempt to give direction to Matt and Jason as our two new board members, and he gave gave him direction specifically about the county and how, quote, it's none of their business what goes on here. And I just want to make sure I'm hearing Casey correctly, because we all have an invested interest now. If I'm hearing you correctly, did you just say you hope someone within the district can communicate with the county or influence the county?
We are in communications with them.
So, but I thought Don was instructing the two board members to not have to keep the county out of our business, and I just want to make sure.
That's not what I said.
In land use cases, you have to talk. There's no way around that.
I just thought there was miscommunication there. Okay.
We've had county commissioners come here to our meetings before and tell us, this is what your SDC rate should be, or you shouldn't have an SDC rate. We've had county commissioners come and tell us, this or that about our district. And,
So it depends on the topic or what this situation is.
yeah, just generally speaking,
Okay.
it's my opinion only, that, county should run the county and let Park District Board run the Park District.
I was just
That's
curious.
all I
Thank you.
said. I'm sorry if it was misinterpreted. Anything else? Okay, is there anybody here to talk about pickleball? Thank God for small fish.
Wait. I've got notes.
Okay.
So there was a pickleball meeting on June 13th. Hunter has big news. He has ideas for how to divert other CPRD funds into his pickleball project.
We're well aware of that.
His ultimate goal is to market CPRD as a destination. He wants to have Newburgh as the tourist hotspot of all this recreational thing, the recreational ideas that he has, and pickleball is a huge part of that. He thinks that it's a mistake for us to just advertise locally. That one doesn't make sense. So that's pretty much it.
He left his drive here last meeting. I'll let you give that to him.
Thank you. But it is a safe place.
I'll look forward to the future board getting commercials on ESPN designating Newburgh as the world pickleball destination.
You never know. He did have some intriguing ideas as far as that,
Okay, trails. Is Quentin online?
Yes.
We've lost the picture.
I'm saying, transfer them over to Alice.
There he is. No, that's just a picture.
I'm here.
Is that Quentin?
Yeah, thank you so much, Don, and board of directors for having me again remotely. I just started a job here at OSU Cascades, a professional faculty job, so I'm actually still at work. But I'm here to give a report on the Chehalem Heritage Trails Advisory Committee. We met earlier this month. Casey stole my thunder. We had a phenomenal, I think is the word to describe it, phenomenal National Trails Day work party up at Bob and Crystal Riley Park. I believe it was June 2nd or 3rd. 85 people, more than 4 miles of trails were worked on, including bark dusting, cutting back vegetation, regrading, stuff like that. Approximately $5,800 worth of volunteer labor. There's some calculation out there for the federal government. Places some numerical value on volunteer labor. So that's really awesome that you were able to put that much work into Bob and Crystal Riley Park. As Casey mentioned, there was a diverse group of volunteers, young and old, folks from all different stakeholder groups, equestrians, hikers, and cyclists. I just want to echo the thanks to my entire committee. Most of them showed up to help, but particularly Matt and Marty, and then also Brian Bowman for all their support in making it possible. Matt is a phenomenal trail guide, and if you ever want a trail safety talk, make sure you ask for it after the meeting. Our committee is currently working on continuing to revise and prepare our community trail survey and trail user surveys. We tabled that discussion at our last meeting until the new board members come on and we can have further discussions. I've already had some with Matt and Jason, and look forward to continuing those conversations around how we can incorporate community values and interests into our work in promoting and facilitating additional trail development within the district. I'm also working with some folks at the state and the county to better understand the zoning laws and the conditional uses of trails, recreational trails, on the applicable EFU, so that's exclusive farm use, and AF, which is agricultural forestry zones that many of the rural parks that have trails are zoned. Our committee was interested in better understanding moving forward with our work, how those restrictions or requirements for developing trails might play into future trail development proposals that might come out of our committee, and also our advocacy of the trail development. So we're hoping just to understand, not to get involved in any type of process like the LUBA, but to make conscious decisions and positive influence through our work that is in line with those zoning laws at both the state and the county level. We're also doing more outreach. Cindy, big shout out to Cindy and Michelle for going to the Wednesday market. We are also working on a draft website that we can hopefully promote trails. Islam, my roommate, finished up his GIS internship mapping the rest of the parks with trails. So hopefully we'll get a web application for those trails in addition to the existing Bob and Crystal Riley Park trails that we can put on our website, promote additional public maps so folks can know what trails they can have access to at the various parks around the district. And we also discussed at our last meeting, and we'll discuss further, a larger, year-long marketing campaign around getting folks aware of what trails are available to them at what parks, and also the opportunities they have for involvement, whether it be through submitting ideas to our committee, getting involved in advocacy, fun events like National Public Trails Day or the National Public Lands Day in September. And then also talking about the opportunity for additional work parties. We have various stakeholder groups, including the equestrians and the cyclists, who really want additional work days up there at Bob and Crystal Riley Park. And then also looking at, district as a whole, are there opportunities to provide further assistance in maintaining and improving the trail system. So look for some additional work party opportunities here in the future. Hopefully not on 100-degree days over there, but we had such a great turnout. I have no reservations that we'll have more successful trail work parties. Finally, as always, I want to say thank you to Brian and Casey, Richard, and Kat for all their assistance. Thank you, Bart in particular, but also you, Don, although I don't really know what to say about that polo you're wearing. Thank you for your steadfast leadership over all the years. No. Thank you for your steadfast leadership over the years. And Bart, thank you for being a contributing member of our committee. Really appreciate working with you both. Wish you the best in your future endeavors. Then also congratulations to both Matt and Jason. I've had some brief conversations with you. I look forward to our continued partnership, and I hope that one of you will be on our committee once you get sworn in next month. And I hope that together, regardless of ideologies or political affiliation, whatever demographics, that we can all come together and just appreciate that trails are a phenomenal resource to our community, and we can work together to bring them into fruition. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Gwen?
Thank you for all the work you are doing on this.
So I should note for the short, ma'am.
Becky Wallace, were you asking if anyone had questions for him? Or just
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. When you say you're doing marketing for the trails, are you marketing to just the taxpayers of CPRD or to like everyone around Oregon?
Yeah, the outreach that we're doing would be strictly for our district. So, think about flyers at, local flyer stands within our community businesses, or showing up like we are to the farmers market and stuff like that.
Would you
Not a tourism focused, that'd be something that the Chamber Conference. What's that?
Would you hope that we would be able to bring more people to CPRD to enjoy the trails here?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think from a resource management perspective, we hope that our citizens obviously have access to the park resources that they want, but also their resources for all, and something that can attract visitors into our local economy and to enjoy the wonderful community that we have.
Thank you.
I'd like to just say too that, yeah, really appreciate the influence that Quentin's had on the committee. He's done a phenomenal job, and really excited about the new signage going up at Bob and Crystal Riley Park. That's gonna make, I think, the users more likely to do the right thing when they know what the right thing is to do, and what trails are open and where they should and shouldn't go. But just really appreciate everything you've done for the community, and just like to thank the whole committee too. It's, I know we had kind of a slow start, but the way you guys have handled Bob and Crystal Riley is, very pleased with the results so far, and looking forward to, the future contributions that your committee's gonna bring.
Jim?
Yeah, so it's really important to me that your new job doesn't take you away from Newburgh. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You need to know where your roots are.
So I was actually about to comment on that within the last month. The question came to me as the president of the board, the fact that Quentin has graduated, so his permanent address is no longer a Newburgh address. He does have a Bend address now, and whether or not he can continue on the committee. It's my opinion that, we've had that precedent before. We had a member for several months of the golf course committee that, used to live here, that moved, and his official residence was in Sun River. He subsequently resigned, but, precedent was there. We have a person that lives in St. Paul that's on the pickleball committee. And so it was my direction to staff that Quentin was welcome to continue on the committee as long as he wanted to and had the interest. The understanding that, that opinion has an expiration date of 2 days, but I hope that the next board will continue to use Quentin on the committee.
3 is a good price, especially when you get quality with that 3.
Well, I got family back in Newburgh, so I'd probably be killed if I didn't come back at least once a month or so.
I'm sorry, Don, I didn't catch the lady that, I didn't catch your name, but the lady that commented about the marketing outside. And I think that's a great idea for equestrians, bicycles, and hikers, because those people, when they come to use our parks, they also, it's economic development for the community. So those people, they're gonna shop here and they'll get something for lunch, and I think we'd like to welcome people from outside the community, and our first duty is to support the recreational needs of our citizens, but love to have people from outside enjoy our resources too.
Okay, Quentin, I'll see you at the Capitol. We did not have a golf course committee meeting this last month, but the whole committee's here, so do we have anything?
We certainly have an update.
Talk about?
Yeah, so Steve Paulson, taxpayer, resident. So yeah, we are, the first thing I was gonna say is we are neighbors and friends, so we meet together anyways as friends, and we play golf together. So we didn't have a formal meeting, but we are gonna be in need, obviously, of a new board member to oversee or chair our committee, moving forward. So that's, that obviously has to happen. There's just a couple things that are happening starting Saturday that do need to be said on the record. Mainly, supposedly the $5 surcharge per golfer per round is supposed to begin this Saturday, the 1st of July. So there's often times where employees come to me, they ask me, Steve, can you speak up? Can you speak up? Can you ask questions? They just don't want, they're fearful because they don't want to be retaliated on, which it's just the way, that's just, they're fearful of their job. And I'm for the people. And one of those concerns is, Steve, we understand there's word on the street that this $5 charge is going to be coming through. I don't know if it's going to be, if Kellen or anyone working the cash register is going to say, by the way, there's a new $5 charge, or if they're just going to charge it and put the $5 aside. With that said, employees concerned about the organization of it and the lack of a signage or a rendering or a drawing of this is what your extra $5 is going to, somewhere put up on the walls in the facility. So they said, Steve, can you find out if that's possible? Again, we're just the advisory committee. We don't make decisions, but everybody knows that I'm willing to speak up for them. So I emailed Michael Bond, the architect, the only person that's produced a rendering of a potential clubhouse, and asked him if it would be possible for his permission, with his permission, to put a picture of it up on the wall, because you can't just use that. I have not heard back from him, but we're not sure what this is going to look like starting the 1st of July. And the other concern I know that we have is, according to Kellen, I wish he was here to understand he's got prior obligations. It's the $5 charge is going to be driven by a manual pushing of a button for whoever's working at the register. There's seasonal employees that come in, college students that come in, and our fear is, what's going to be the checks and balances of it to make sure this gets done. And furthermore, we're asking if it's possible to see a monthly report of the funds, because on a slow day at Chehalem Glen Golf Course, this is going to raise $1,000 to $1,500 in a day. On a slow day, it could raise probably $500. So you can imagine this is the busiest time of year. That's going to add up pretty quickly. And as word of mouth gets out, people, citizens, visitors that live here, this applies to anyone that comes to Chehalem Glen Golf, this $5 charge, they're going to want to know, what is this really going to? What does it look like? So that was that point, as far as the clubhouse is concerned and the $5 charge. So I'm not sure, I don't expect you guys to be able to do anything about this right now. But Dawn, do you have anything, do you know anything? I'm not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. Do you know anything about signage, a rendering, anything we could put up there? We could make a sign?
Well, when Michael came to our March meeting, it was my impression from that meeting that he was fine if we put the rendering up. I mean, it's great that you double checked with him, but he didn't give any, I didn't get any indication from him at that meeting that he would have a problem if we put the rendering up. I mean, shoot, it's good advertising for him. So then the last meeting that Heidi came to, we walked through these questions you're asking. She said we should be able to give you a monthly report.
Okay.
And it was explained that, the only way to do it is to put the surcharge in, and Kellen said he would train the staff on how to do that.
I just think that it's a historical deal for the community to do this, because I know it's going to add up. And I know, without respect, I know we did talk about that, but Michael, it was just a different time, literally. And I just don't feel comfortable, again, it's not my district or anything, but I don't feel comfortable just putting something up without some kind of written authorization. For number one, because they own the drawings. Number two, we've never paid him for that, to my knowledge. And number three, I just don't think it's a good look without, it's probably not even gonna be the final picture of what that could look like if it does happen. So those things, I'd rather ask for permission than forgiveness in something like this. But when people come to me and say, Steve, this is happening, because I know a lot of people that golf there too. What is this? Is this a fictitious thing? Is it really gonna happen? People just, the buy-in, Don, people just don't believe it's gonna happen. So that's all, just something, and we're definitely keeping an eye. We'll be keeping an eye on that.
All right.
And then secondly, the other update was, and this is, again, we're for the advisory for all things golf course. Again, speaking up for the employees, on behalf of the employees, these things we've talked about, the tip situation, so I do have an update on that. So the employees can collect a tip legally. It has to do with the golf course, but it's just these people, they're afraid to come to these meetings. I say, come, tell them we need to change the policy. They're afraid to. And I don't even know if I would have the guts back then to do it. However, we did request, my wife and I requested from Kat to find out if it's legal, illegal, what the policy is. And so far, I'm gonna read you what Kat said. Hello, Don and Steve. The CPRD policy on employee tipping donations to employees is driven by various rules under ORS Chapter 244 Government Ethics, specifically 020.025 and 040. Taken together, CPRD has determined that these would make tipping difficult, not illegal, to manage, creating a complicated, quote, black hole of record keeping for the agency as well as for the employee receiving such donations. Furthermore, the employee could become subject to ethics complaints if his or her documentation was not done correctly. So she puts in their donations, it's a gift. A tip is a gift. We've discussed with an attorney as well as with the Bureau of Labor Industries, it's not illegal, regardless of tax status or anything. I would just hope that I'm not letting this go. We're not letting this go as a committee. These employees that work here, that work their butts off, deserve to get a tip. So what happened last time, and then we're gonna wrap it up, but what happened last time, I spoke up on this, on the behalf, was that the beer pitcher, the cash donations, when I was told it was illegal, that magically disappeared. My phone gets blown up by employees saying, Steve, what happened? We don't have the beer pitcher to collect cash anymore. And then that got altered to say something else on it. And it's just a bad look. When all in my opinion, all it would have to take for this to change would be the board to ask direct Dawn to say, hey, we need to change this policy so that these employees can get a cash or a credit card tip. That's all it would take, because it's not illegal for these employees to receive a gift, a cash gift, or a credit card gift. It does take a little bit more labor. It would take some effort, but I know if we have consulted with the CPA, which I know we could have, a certified CPA, I'm pretty sure we could find someone that would be happy to help train and set this up. I'm pretty sure I could help with that. Bart had a question.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. We don't always agree on everything, but recently our board decided to give a substantial raise to our employees because we want to send them the message that we think that their work is valuable and we think it's important. And I understand that there's complexities with collecting the tips, but this is something I agree with Steve, that all the other service employees around here collect tips. You can't go into a fast food restaurant without them automatically coming up on the register or something about tips. And I understand it's probably not easy to implement, but there's a lot of places around here that have managed to figure it out. And I may not have much time left on the board, but while I do, I'd like to say that I think that's a good idea, and it's another way to show the employees that we value them. And as we'd like to have them stay here instead of taking a job somewhere else where they could get tips.
Thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, I just like to have a lot more research on all sides. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but the administration from the district, what that would take. Most people that tip, there's a 20, 15, 25%, whatever it is. Are all people gonna feel it's equal? Should we look at doing this? Oh, why did they tip at the golf course? Shouldn't we tip at the pool, the lifeguard? Shouldn't we? So, I mean, it could, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I think there's a lot of avenues to look at. I asked the question last time about, okay, if you use a credit card, there's a fee on the credit card. Are the taxpayers gonna pay that fee? How much is that fee? How does that work? Would they be happy with that? So I think we need to look at a lot of different angles, not saying it's good or bad, and really do our homework on this. If the board decides, or really it's a staff decision to a point, whether we do that or not. So I think I'm not saying I'm against it, but from a taxpayer standpoint, I want to look at all the angles to make sure we're doing the right thing so it doesn't come back and bite us from a different angle. Yeah.
But what's the story with the credit card? They're already using the credit card.
No, I get
The
that, but
credit card-
we always pay a fee. And so if it's a separate thing just for the tip, and I don't know. See, so I don't know, but I know that there's a fee there and the taxpayers end up paying that.
Now, wait a minute, so you go buy a beer from the car girl, for your credit card, right?
Just let me interrupt.
You can't pay a tip,
Let me
but-
interrupt real quick. Ron, I
What
know
would
who you
be a
are,
separate-
nobody else does. I just need you to identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ron Rogers, I'm on the,
Thank you.
Golf Course Committee. I just don't understand why there'd be a separate fee for a tip when you're already giving her the credit card to pay for the beer.
You mentioned that to me. How's that work?
So to process credit cards, they're processing it through the process server, which is sometimes also the bank. they charge a fee. So if you pay for your golf course round and it's $60, then we pay us, I'm just gonna throw a number because I don't know what it is, 3%.
Okay.
Of the fee, so we're not getting the full $60.
Right.
Now, you elect to tip somebody, say, $10. The district pays that 3% credit card fee. The employee still gets the full $10, because in Oregon, that's required. But so then it falls on the business to pay the 3% fee, which, because we are a tax basis.
So you're saying that if the beer's $10 and then you leave $3 tip, the $3 gets, the $3,
The whole-
3% comes out of the $3 too.
Correct.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Ma'am?
Becky Wallace. I ran a restaurant and I know this answer. I had an employment attorney with tipping and all that. In the state of Oregon, you can deduct the 3% from the tip.
That would be good to check in, because as a special district government, we have different rules and
No, it's the same,
regulations
it's the same.
for,
Tipping, and you have,
But
and
that's good to know
all
to check in.
employees, even concession employees, are allowed to receive tips. If one of the golfers wanted to hand them a $10 bill, they can take it, keep it, and put it in their pocket, and you have no right to tell them anything. Even though you're a government district.
So again, I'm back to where this homework needs to be done. And let's take a look at all the angles and then come together and let's rock on this. But so homework needs to be done.
Just, Jim, and just remember, so I respect what you're speaking about. I know you know good and well that a lifeguard is not doing the same job as someone running back and forth, dumping ice in a cart, filling it with beverages, serving people. It's not apples to apples. It's a food and beverage service situation. It's just,
I won't
it's
even
just
go
not
there.
this, it's just not.
I'm not even gonna go there, but that's okay. I understand.
I don't think any of us are opposed to people getting tips before. It's the complication of how do you do it operationally? And I think that's what Jim is trying to figure out between financially everything, so we're making an informed decision. Not that we like or dislike giving tips. I mean, if people can get tips, like why would we care? But transactionally, it is complicated, even though it shouldn't be, but it is. And so I think all Jim is saying is that let's get all the information together to make sure we're making an informed decision than to just say something and then cause all kinds of a problem. So that's all I'm hearing, is just making sure we have enough information to make a decision like this.
So we're not gonna resolve this tonight. I'm sure whoever the new board liaison is will be happy to work with you to come up with a proposal to bring back to the full board.
Thank you.
How launch update? Do we have one?
Nothing new.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
The grants, Jim knows he serves on the statewide grants through the state that administers all the park and rec grants throughout the state. Many years ago.
How come we don't get every one then?
Yeah.
Gotta apply.
But as Jim knows, the amount of money is going to go way up. The reason it's gonna go way up is a number of years ago, we met in Portland with the legislature and the state Department of Recreation. And we agreed that once the lottery reached a certain point, that the amount would increase. That is the amount that goes to local government. I would say that state parks would like to keep that money, but we got it signed and it's going to happen. That was something we looked at many years ago. So the money's gonna definitely increase to local government share. So that's something to look forward to.
But it's not official yet.
Well,
I mean, it may be happening. I think it probably will, but
it will
it's
happen.
not on the books yet.
It will happen.
And are there limitations to these funds?
Well, it's the,
There's always limitations.
yeah, I mean, it's competitive.
Yes.
Okay.
But anyway, the other thing is Sanders Park. Jan came in this week. She gave the foundation another $100,000 that we'll utilize on the park. And that, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever how you want to look at it, that put us over the amount that's secured in the bank. So we'll have to take those foundation funds and do a CD to protect those. I'm just letting the board know that that's what we're going to do to protect those funds. So we're going to be doing that, and I directed Heidi to get a hold of the bank and do that. So I don't see any crisis coming, but if it does, we want to be prepared because we have a fiduciary responsibility on those foundation funds. So the other thing is with marketing, I've always said, and we've always done the following. If you build a facility or you start a program, you do it for the locals. You do not do it for tourists. The reason for that is simple. If the locals enjoy it and they like it, so will the tourists. So you don't even have to worry about it. When we built the golf course, we didn't build it for outside. We built it for the local folks here. That was the intent. The cultural center, same thing. The skate park, all of those things. Each one of those draw a tremendous amount of people from the outside. So our endeavor will always be, and has always been, to build it for the local people. That's important. That's all that I have.
Any questions for Don?
The Sanders Park property, do we have, I understand we have to do some infrastructure work with the city of Dundee and get that squared away, but I'd like to see something in the shovel mode soon, if we could, especially if we go back to OPRD and say, hey, you know, we're working on finishing phase 1, we'd like to do phase 2 and get some money from the grant situation that way. So, you know, Casey, at the next meeting, just to give you a heads up, I'm gonna ask, you know, where are we at on that? Because, you know, the grant money's there for the future. So, anyway.
Or what the state did is we put in a grant, and it was a state grant. The state couldn't, they had X number of dollars, but they didn't have what we asked for. Because I think it was about $1 million total project. What they did was they contacted us and said, the state is going to give this. Go to Land and Water. So we contacted Land and Water, and they made up the difference. So we want to finish that up, and then we'll go back to both of those agencies and finish that project out.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that they're gonna wanna see that well, we can discuss it later from a grant standpoint, but they're gonna wanna see work done, and then they'll say, yeah, here's some more money.
Right, they don't usually not all grants. Usually, they require you to finish before you submit another one. Some grants you can do before, like with the trail grants, we can submit it prior to finishing up one. As a matter of fact, the state asked us to do that. So when they ask you, you respond and do it.
Okay, staff reports. We've heard plenty from Casey. Scott.
Hey, Don. We continue on several small projects and keep our quest going towards providing the best playing conditions we can.
Very succinct, thank you. Heidi?
Nothing more to report.
Brian?
Nope, we're busy. Everybody knows we're busy. I don't get like this if we're not busy. We're out in the sun, we're rocking and rolling and trying to keep things up to the way it should be. It's actually quite enjoyable. We have a new crew out there that I have with the Golson Park in terms of the staffing. The school is officially out now, so one of the most exciting parts of my job is developing employees and working with them. And I think a testament to that is I've never advertised for employees since I've been here for the district, and that's not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on what the district has to offer in the parks and the opportunities that exist for jobs. And now is definitely a testament to that we have stacks of applications that come in, and it's just word of mouth from employees that either presently work here or have worked in the past. So that's pretty exciting, and that's the most exciting part, is to develop those and watch them evolve, just like the parks and the district is, and yeah, it's a cool part of the job. We really like it.
Cool. I don't want to disappoint people who thought that at my last meeting that Julie and I would sing the Forest Grove High School fight song. I don't remember the words, but I do remember it actually goes to the tune of Oregon State's fight song, so I'm most certainly not going to do that.
I wore my Forest Grove Vikings shirt and it was very hard to get into, so. Well, a lot of you actually I don't know, so I just wanted to introduce myself. I am in charge of special services for the district. And that is essentially anything that people pay for when they participate in any program in the district. So I've been out for a couple weeks, so I just had a couple things to share. Our aquatic center, everything's going very well. I wanted to reiterate what Brian had mentioned, that we just, we have a lifeguard class that's going on right now and it's full. And that is a result, those are people in our community that are training to be lifeguards. And we just had a tremendous response as a result of the board approving the wage increase. So the quality of candidates also has just been very, very impressive. And so that helps our staff a lot. And we're retaining employees too. So thank you very much. That's very noticed at the aquatic center. It's very, very busy there, both the leisure pool and the competitive side. I wanted to mention that we have signed basically contracts. We are going to be hosting the Three Rivers League Swim Championships this year, which is great, and also the Oregon High School Water Polo Championships as well. They'll be in the Jim McMaster comp pool. That's very exciting. Trillium comes and they train their lifeguards at our facility. Our swim lessons are absolutely packed, and we are having so many parties on the patio. So that's really fun to be a part of. The girls down there are doing a great job. Let's see, in our sports department, we just finished up our youth lacrosse. We had our spring soccer season was very successful this year. We had 41 teams and over 550 kids. And for those of you who know soccer, that is not a spring sport. It is a fall sport. So we were very excited to see that turn out this year. Our track and field teams, we had 110 participants, and we contract with the high school to use their track. We are working on the Rennie project, and if that goes through and that is a successful partnership with the school district, then we will have a track around that turf field at Rennie Field. So we feel like that's important for the kids in our community. So we have summer camps, our sports summer camps are absolutely full. Of course, adult softball is going on out at Darnell Wright. And on the weekends, we're just full with youth softball. I don't know if you've ever driven out there, don't go by there. It's the traffic's crazy out there, but it's really, it brings a lot of people into our community. They shop at Fred Meyer's, they eat in our restaurants, and that's a very successful partnership as well. In our recreation department, we are offering 115 summer camps this year, and that is tremendous. Matt Compton is in charge of that, and some of those camps include esports, where we partner with George Fox, nature camps. We have some equestrian camps going on with Cowboy Bob and Cowgirl Kim. We have fitness camps, we have a drama camp, and I wanted to do a shout out really quickly to Josh Danner, who is on our staff. He works for Brian. We have a patron who is enrolled in our drama camp, and she has cerebral palsy, and so she's in a wheelchair. And so we have a stage, and that camp is held at the Armory. And so Josh and Rob built a ramp for her so that she could get up onto the stage. And so I wanted to acknowledge that. And that's just one of the things that, you know, that our staff take care of and do a good job of. That was a quick turnaround for that camp. And that makes me really proud, you know, and really happy to be a part of a staff that cares about kids and our community like that. We also have art and some STEM classes as well. We have our senior center, bingo is back, Monday and Wednesday from 1 to 4. If anybody's interested, I went and I was a winner, I just want to say. That's probably illegal, but but that was really lots of fun. We do offer, I don't know if you're aware, Meals on Wheels at the senior center. We sign contracts with Northwest Senior Disability Services. I want to say that we provide in our community 475 approximately meals per week to housebound seniors in our community. And that is all run out of the senior center. And our senior specialist does a great, tremendous job with our volunteers there, taking care of that for the senior center. I wanted to acknowledge them too. We are providing lunch for the seniors as well, people that actually come into the facility. We have brought that back. That was during COVID, it was went away, but we're up and running with that too. Quickly with CARE, we have 115 kids registered in our CARE summer program. That is held at Dundee Elementary, and that's the highest enrollment that we've ever had. That's a great partnership with the Newburgh School District. The Dundee Elementary School is the only school that is not being worked on right now, so they've graciously allowed us to use their cafeteria and their gymnasium. And then of course we use the field out there too, and the playground. We have 35 CARE employees. 5 of them are George Fox football players in early education. And so again, thank you to the board for allowing us. We're getting a tremendous response with the wage increase. It's felt in that program as well. Let's see. Pickleball, I did meet with Gail, and we had that advisory meeting. And one of the things I wanted to mention to the board, and I talked to Hunter about this at length, is that I think about a year and a half ago, the board prioritized projects. And with Jason and Matt coming on, that might be something that you guys might want to look at and do. Because I was telling Hunter that there was a list, and that list they were prioritized, and it would be helpful to maybe go over that again so that he kind of knows where he stands and where the pickleball advisory committee stands. I wanted to address really quick, Steve Paulson isn't here, it's unfortunate that he left, but I understand what he's saying about the tipping situation. My daughter's a beer cart girl at the Corvallis Country Club as she was at Oregon State. I understand that. But to make a statement to say that the girl that's serving alcohol and that's, or the boy, that, or man or woman, that's serving alcohol and, you know, schlepping ice back and forth deserves more than a lifeguard that is saving lives. Because I've been at the pool before, during, and after there was a potential drowning, and it's horrific. I mean, it is horrific. And to say that that person deserves more than somebody who is selling alcohol, that's a terrible statement. And I think it's disrespectful. And so I will talk to Steve about that because I do know him and we are friends, but I don't like it. And so I wanted to acknowledge that. And then lastly, I did want to say that I have so appreciated working with Bart and Dawn, and that I've always felt supported by you, and the special services staff has as well. We will miss you, and you guys have made an impact on me, and that I think being a leader it's a skill, and you guys both have really, you know, it's a thankless job, and I just really appreciate the time. Special services, we employ a lot of volunteer coaches, so I know what it's like to volunteer time, and I look forward to working with you guys, but as well. But I just really wanted to thank you for your service. It's noticed and it's very, very, very appreciated.
Go Vikings.
Go Vikings.
Richard.
Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of getting ready to ramp up installation of network cables throughout most of our properties because a lot of it's from the 80s and it's just not great wiring. So we're slowly repairing and replacing a lot of our infrastructure. So Armory here, Senior Center, that's all happening this year. So we did that side of the property last year and the year before. This one's happening this year with new wiring throughout, so we'll have better network connectivity throughout this building as well.
Our 80s cables not working.
Well, you can do so much with Cat5 and yeah. Other than that, I'm just training people at the pool and doing maintenance at the pool as well.
Speaking of Cat 5, how about Cat 1?
All right. I want to let you know there are some new trails maps available that continue the series. We started with the new Bob and Crystal Riley Park maps. I worked with Quentin and Islam for their internship that was led by Quentin to do the Bob and Crystal Riley Park trails inventory and the creation of the deliverables of those trails. And those have been fantastic. And we just completed Islam's led internship also with OSU, which continued on that work. And he led the charge in making all the maps, creating those through GIS mapping for Crabtree Park, for the golf course trails and Shad Park and Ewing Young Park. And so those are all available. In fact, I just got a shipment in today that we will put outdoors. So I've been working with Brian, and it's been really cool to be able to put these not only inside facilities like we've done over the years, but working with Brian, we've taken them outside right to the trailheads, and we've posted weather resistant, but working well, acrylic, polymer, containers for those maps right at the trailhead. So we'll continue to do those for all of the other trail maps that we have as well. Also, the Discovery Map brochure, the actual brochure with the map inside, through the years, that has been our most popular handout. And since I've taken that through several printings and revisions, there we go. Hey, points to McMaster right there for having that on.
I gotta read what we have, I'm not sure, so now I know.
That is still by and far our most popular handout, and we went through, we blew through our first printing. I am just about to, as soon as that fiscal year turns over, put out a second run of printing. So they go at the downtown market, they go from this office, they go from the chamber, they go from all kinds of places, and also out on this trailheads like I just talked about. They're tremendously popular, great tool for outreach. And locally produced, I work with Allegra on that, with the original artist, and many of you may not know that, but there is an artist over there named Michael Comfort, and I worked with Michael. He created the original map from that, and I've worked one-on-one with him to continue that every iteration, and that brochure every iteration. He's also now doing county parks and trails maps and brochures, and it's been an absolutely phenomenal collaboration. We love working together, and it's been really special for both of us, especially since he's getting toward thinking about retirement, that he's been able to tender that through the years, as well as designed our current logo. So he's kind of a very quiet, unsung hero here at CPRD. You may not even be aware of him. Very talented artist, and he is behind that one as well. So finally, I also want to take my few moments to speak to thank Bart and Don tremendously for your contributions. They not only affect the entire community, they both have really good personal positive effects on my life and have increased my quality of life. I want to thank Bart for bringing enthusiasm for outdoor recreation to the board, and from coming from city council, and in the process brought only a spirit of cooperation, and that in itself is really a hallmark of his character right there. And for introducing me personally to kayaking, for literally taking me through exactly picking out my first kayak and not leaving until he knew I had also picked out my first life jacket. And I'm sure that he has done that and continues to do that for countless individuals, and it has really increased my enjoyment of life. So thank you, Bart. And Don Loving, such a big part of CPRD, and your contributions to the quality of life here in the community. You were one of the first persons that I ever met at CPRD. You were on my hiring panel, and you were the person who had the most overlap with my career to date. We've both been journalists, we both moved into PR, and through those things, I might be one of the only persons that you can call a good friend of yours who has no sports team affiliation whatsoever.
We can fix that.
So I know that I'll continue to see you in the community, and but I want to say I will particularly miss your humor here at the meetings. So thank you for you both.
Yeah, what other board members have brought you Batman collectibles?
That's true. That's just one.
All right. Correspondence. Any comments from the board on the citizens' comments and evaluations? Okay, miscellaneous info. We have big capital letters here that says recognition, and we're concerned about this.
Yeah, you should be. So Don asked me to get together and talk about this, and we kind of want to recognize both you fellows for what you've done. I've known these folks. I came here to Newburgh in 1980. These folks came on a little later, but Don here, he was employed with the Newburgh Graphic back when they covered just Newburgh, but he was the Newburgh Graphic, and he was a sports commentator. He was a sports editor there, and did a great job. In fact, he really didn't want the center built in, the basketball stadium built in Portland. He wanted to create the Dundee Dome. And I'm sorry, that was one of your articles. It never happened. So some people don't understand Don's dry sense of humor. I do. I got used to it over the 32 years he was here. Most of that time I was the park supervisor and so on. And then this young man here, Bart, I coached his kids back in the day in water polo, got to know him through that and how much he had to deal with me as a coach as well as a park supervisor. But both these fellows, Bart was on the city council, gave his time, energy, and expertise to them. And then he said he wanted to do fun and games, so he came to Park and Rec and helped us so much. And he's an outdoor guy like me, and so I really appreciated you guys. So I'm gonna I might roast you a little bit, and I don't feel bad about that. But so Don Levy, 1991 to 2023, 32 years having to deal with me, Don, and the rest of the staff. So that's amazing, and it just says a lot. It's awesome. But so much took place with Don on the board, and I pretty much knew everything except for the backroom talks he was having with Don. But I pretty much knew everything that this board member was doing. And he was here when we created the Jaquith Park Sports Complex. We put that together and the tennis court and all that. That was a long time ago. And the grants that I was just reviewing throughout the state, the Jaquith Park throughout the cities in Oregon are all being redone. So it looks like that will probably happen in some of the parts of Jaquith Park coming down. But you started that and it was awesome. The Crater Park ball fields, am I over time? The Crater Park ball fields.
As long as you're saying good things, it's okay.
I'll get to the other stuff. But anyway, the Crater Park, the Jaquith Park ball, the Crater Park ball fields, those were put together, and that was a difficult job. That was kind of when I first came on as the park supervisor, project manager, and didn't know what the hell I was doing. And he helped the district through that, got that all taken care of.
My proudest moment there was I made Clements put the light poles up first before anything else. So when the neighbors moved in, they couldn't come here and complain about the light.
Yeah, but we only did the two, and we got two. We put the infrastructure in for the other ones though, so hopefully one day those will go up. Union BMX track, the skate park, the dog park. He was involved with over 8 of the 8 building of the neighborhood parks throughout Newburgh and Dundee. He basically was here when we built the senior center. He was on the board. The purchase and the renovation of the Armory building, that was our center for a long time before the cultural center came in. And Central School, turning it into the cultural center. He was on our board. He approved that. We all did that work. Construction of the golf course. I can tell you without a doubt that if he was not here, there would be no golf course. Guaranteed. Because he was like the advocate. Now, I have to tell you that I was the parks guy. I was not the golf course guy. I appreciate what it's done for our community, so I wasn't involved at all with that. I didn't give him much help at all. Probably didn't want it. But the deal was that he and Don Clements, but this board member, along with the other folks who were on the board at the time, he really pushed it. He's not that good a golfer, but he really pushed it. And I always remember his golf cart, his U of O golf cart that he would park out there and drive around. So that, is what you've done for the community. Just that as a highlight is amazing. And then he had to deal with the construction of the aquatic center, which made me retire at the end of that damn thing. But anyway, we built the aquatic center, and I share this with you, but we built the aquatic center and we had 19 point whatever, almost $20 million to work with. And so I came back to the board after the architecture and everything, and prices were escalating like everything else. And I came to the board and I said, look, we were supposed to build an aquatic center and then take the old pool and turn that into a gymnasium. Well, we didn't have enough money by the time we got there. So I came to the board and I said, and I'm sure you remember this, I said, we're gonna have to shrink down this project because we can't afford today's numbers because it was just escalating. Steel prices were going through the roof, so on and so forth. And so himself, and Bar, you were involved with that too. I was surprised because we were gonna have a blank building there with nothing in it, the old pool. We would have got the new pool. We didn't shrink it down to 6 lanes. We didn't shrink down the leisure side of it because these guys came back and said, look, we promised the community that we would build this aquatic center and we are going to do, and the gymnasium and the weight room of that whole facility, and we're going to do the whole thing. So he said, we're going to go out on a limb and we're going to borrow the money to get this done. And I was just like, oh, really? You're not going to ask me to just shrink it. So you guys, I could say the way the aquatic center turned out, yes, I was down underwater helping to build it, but these guys made sure it got built. And so I just have to tell you, that the community doesn't understand all that you have done. The cultural center that we got for $1, thank you for that $1. We gave the school district $1 for the cultural center. You know, and it was millions of dollars later after we got rid of the asbestos and got the structural integrity and all that stuff, but they felt it was important that we have this for the community. And it's been a great resource for the community, and you guys were all part of that being on the board. So I really appreciate that.
That $5 is Don, he didn't want to pay more than 50 cents.
Right. But this guy here, we're talking about paddle launch. Let's talk about the paddle launch. So they come up to me, and you know, I've got plenty of stuff to do, and this guy goes, "Hey, we need to have a paddle launch in this community." I said, "What is that, and why?" So I was very skeptical of it. Asked a lot of questions, but he was knowledgeable and adamant. And somebody told me we have a big river going along the side of this thing that the public doesn't get on enough. So he was an advocate, along with the river keepers and so on, to be able to help us create this. And not only did he say, "Hey, we need to do this," but he said, "I will build you all the structure that we put all the kayaks on," and we found the truck body to put all that, the semi-truck body to put that in and all that. And he built all that himself, and it's amazing. And we still have it. And the kayaks are where they are. But the people wonder, well, why do you need a paddle launch? What's the deal with that? And I was skeptical too. Is it going to make money? It did make money. We paid off an initial investment with the money we made at the paddle launch. And then we were making money and giving teenagers jobs and so on. So both you guys need to understand that the community may not know all that you have done, but you have done, and I didn't even mention a quarter of what you've done, and the headaches that you had to go through as board members. I had to question whether I wanted to be a board member after seeing the headaches you guys go through, but you have done a tremendous job, and I can't thank you enough personally for supporting our staff. Thanks. Oh, and the other thing is that, you know, I got a little emotional down there. I don't usually do that. And the reason I did is because what we've done for this community, what you've done for this community, I mean, they have no idea until they look at other communities and see what they have. But we have an award for you here. And without my glasses, that might be a problem for me. Anyway, so presented to Bart Ryerson and to Don Loving in recognition of outstanding and distinguished service as a member of the Chehalem Park and Recreation District. Thanks again, you guys. Appreciate it. If anybody else wants to say anything, I think we need to, because.
Wait, this says Bart.
That's how I roll.
And please, after the meeting, will everybody share in the celebration cake in the back?
Yeah. Bart, do you have anything you want to say?
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, so I took some notes. I have some things to say. I cut it down. I'm only going to speak for 1 minute per year on the board. So when I first got on the board, Ann and I had been married 7 years. Michael was not quite 2. Elizabeth wasn't 4. So Ann and I just celebrated our 39th anniversary. My daughter's 30. I have a daughter-in-law. Michael's 33, and I have 2 grandkids. So it's been a long time. The only thing I want to say is that my only goal ever was to make sure when I left, whenever that was, that I wanted to leave the district better than I found it. History will be the judge. I think I've done it. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
So, need a motion to adjourn. Director Ryerson.
Will we adjourn?
Motion carries.
You know, it's what you guys have to say, you know, it's good cake and so on for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah.